Welcome to the Makeshift podcast number 16. We have a guest, my good friend from the University of Maryland, Mike Rodriguez. Mike, how you doing today, man?
Doing phenomenal, Zach.
Good. We love to hear that. I'm gonna jump in and kick off because I did this on another podcast. I have a public service announcement that people need to hear before we jump into some conversation, Mike. Is that all right?
Of course.
All right. So we recently on the Makeshift Project Instagram posted a reel. And Brian and I have been posting filters from Instagram. They've been up there. So I have notifications on Instagram. I've been getting a lot of messages, a lot of comments on a video that has almost like 800,000 views now.
Let's go.
It's guess the brand. And Mike, I'll quiz you. So it was the emoji. It was a horse. It was a car and an Italian flag. What's the brand?
Ferrari.
It is
Yeah.
Ferrari. It is
Yeah.
Ferrari. Yes. But see how you had a little bit of doubt and question in it? I did the
I was
same
thinking
thing.
I was thinking Mustang from the horse, but then you said the Italian. I was like, not
So
sure.
Everybody's commenting on the video and they're like, oh, like, because during the guessing, I don't know, I talk in between. So it came up and I was like, oh, I was like, I was like, Ferrari? I'm like, are Ferrari's Italian? And like, it sounded like I was questioning whether Ferraris were Italian. I know Ferraris are Italian, but in reality, what I was really trying to say was like, Ferraris are Italian, right? I just didn't have the right. So I just want to shout out to all the haters. We're going to post this clip onto Instagram, onto YouTube. Everybody's going to see it. I'm not an idiot. I'm partially an idiot, but I'm not a complete idiot. I just wanted to make that clear.
Hey, it helps the views.
It does help the views. Apparently, my controversy of not knowing continent, states, whatever it is.
We're all about
Was
the
about-
numbies.
We're all about the numbies. All right, that was my announcement, Mike. I want to jump in right away. We're going to kick off with the NHL playoffs. You're a big Rangers fan, right?
I have been following the Rangers. They're doing well, really well.
So I don't follow hockey at all. Can you like fill me in on like anything about the playoffs?
They just beat, what was it, Carolina in 7 games. They've been coming down to the wire. They've been on the verge of elimination, I think, in the last 2 rounds. So they just won, what was it, a couple nights ago. And now they're playing. Who are they playing tonight?
At the
Playing
Lightning,
Tampa
right?
Bay Lightning. Yep.
Yep.
And they're back-to-back champs, right? The Lightning.
Yep. They're going for the trio.
Yep.
But it's not going to happen because New York's going to take them down, especially tonight. We got, 40, terrible at math, 38 minutes until game time, baby. Game one.
Are the Rangers like? Do they have like a star player, or is hockey like a team sport where like you just have a balance of solid people? Like I can.
I like Kreider a lot. I think he's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, I agree. I think earlier in the season, the Rangers didn't have that one guy where they didn't have a Sidney Crosby or Alex Ovechkin or Connor McDavid or something like that, but they do have a good like core unit. And Kreider was supposed to be the guy in the beginning of the season. He was a little iffy, and now he's really stepped into that role where he's the leading goal scorer, he's the leading point scorer. He's really taken the reins as I would say the best player on the Rangers besides Igor.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal.
Beast, best goalie in the league. I like
Could
that.
be. Maybe.
Was he the first person to replace after Lundqvist?
Yeah,
So it
he
just
actually
went from
overlapped.
phenomenal goalie to phenomenal goalie. Is that?
Yeah, they actually overlapped. So he got like kind of like the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers kind of thing, where he got taught the reins, and I mean he got to get shown the ropes by one of the best goalies of all time.
They've run plays in hockey.
Yeah,
Yeah, Flying V.
It's the signature play that everyone knows. The only experience I have with hockey really is playing NHL 2K. And like I'm just skating around like I just feel like it's a volume sport. You shoot more at the net, more likelihood it's going to go in. I don't know, power plays, penalties, take advantage of them. I'm
Yeah.
really not well versed in hockey. I'm sorry.
Well, you should be because now you have a favorite team ever since the Seattle Kraken came into the league.
Yeah. Well, I was a Penguins fan, and then I was a Rangers fan, then a Devils fan, then an Islanders fan, and then a new team came on, and I can't bandwagon. So obviously the Seattle Kraken, who were horrible this year.
You got to just stick with it.
I'm going to, because once they're good, I'm going to take credit. I'm going to say on June 1st, 2022, I restated that I'm a Kraken fan, and I'm proud of it. We're going to come back to this podcast. It's going to be unbelievable.
We love it.
do the Rangers actually have a shot to win this series? Like, are the Lightning the favorite team, or are they like kind of on the tail end of, their reign over the past few years?
I think they got a good shot.
Yeah, I mean they have a shot. Like they're not these crazy underdogs. They are the underdog.
Sure.
Like the odds tonight were +1. It was like barely over 100. It was like -120 for the Lightning and like +105 or whatever it was for the Rangers. But they definitely have a shot. And I mean, it seems like the Rangers are similar to the Yankees in the past. Not past few years, but the past 10 years, where they get to the semifinals or they get to the cup and then they just blow it. So I don't know. Hopefully this is the year. We'll see.
I guess it's just nice to see your team in the playoffs.
That's all I could ask for.
I don't know what that feels like. So, but I'm going to this year because the New York Mets are actually, they're like a top 3 baseball team. They are. I think it's the Dodgers, Yankees, and the Mets. Yeah, so Mike, I want to ask you the question: who's the best team in New York?
Ooh, I think you know my answer. I may be biased, but the New York Yankees are my team. Diehard Yankees fan. Yep.
That's what we like to hear.
Yep. I'm actually following the games a lot this year.
Do they have enough pitching to make it deep into the postseason? Do you think? Like what's their biggest flaw? And maybe at the trade deadline, like maybe what move do you expect them to make?
I mean, all of their starters have been like pitching pretty well. Like Montgomery wasn't getting a lot of wins, but he was still pitching very well. It finally got a win yesterday. Nestor, of course. I think their starting pitchings are right. But honestly, I don't really know if they have like a big flaw. I don't even know what I would say would be what you would kind of focus on for the trade deadline. If it would be pitching, I feel like you could always go for pitching. They, whatchamacallit, you know who's stepping up? Trevino. He's my guy recently.
Yeah.
He just seems like a solid guy, works hard, does what he's got to do, and been performing recently.
That's always the best kind of players. That's with Jeff McNeil for me. It's like he's a grinder. He's a contact guy. He's like an old school baseball player. I love watching him.
How much money would you offer Aaron Judge at the end of the season if he keeps up what he's doing right now?
$100 million a year.
A year?
All right. So he was offered $230 million. What was that over? That was like over the course of like, how many years was that? Does anybody know?
Probably had to be like 7, 8.
Yeah, I think it was 7 years.
So what's the math there?
Oh, you're asking the wrong person.
What was it, 230?
Yeah, 230 divided by say 6.
Okay.
It's around $30 million a year. So let's say, Aaron Judge was offered $30 million over a year. How much more money are you giving this man if he keeps this up, realistically?
Realistically. I mean, I think the Yankees issue was more like the length of the contract, because Aaron Judge, he just turned 30. So 7 years, you're going to 30, 37. So
you're getting up there,
especially like the amount baseball players you playing 162 games a year, like definitely wears you down. So, but honestly, I'd give him 40 mil a year.
Do you think he'll end up staying?
I honestly think he will if they give him a good offer. I will say it's almost like an equal, like the Yankees obviously would love to have Aaron Judge, but Aaron Judge's brand is built off the New York Yankees. You know what I mean? Like he's been the guy. They have that section in right field. He's kind of the guy, the Derek Jeter-esque guy who started his career and is just, a leader for the team. So I would love to keep him. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He obviously hits a lot of home runs, and he's a really good outfielder too. That's underrated. He's got a phenomenal arm.
He has a cannon.
Yeah, I was an outfielder back in the day, back in high school. So I appreciate a good outfielder. Reading the ball off the bat good, not turning your back on the ball, which a lot of outfielders do. In the MLB, I was taught never to turn around and lose sight of the ball because you're gonna lose it. But I think that he's doing well.
I would pay so much money to see Little League Mike roaming the outfield. Probably a unit out there. Center field?
Miguel Pescado. Yeah, I was center.
Yeah, Mike Trout asked. I was like the big debate, and I don't know if it is a big debate or we can make it one. Is like Trout gets paid. I think it was 10 years, 430 million, or 13 years, 400, whatever. It was 430 million. Um, it's like, does Aaron Judge deserve that? Maybe not in terms of the total amount of a contract, because age, but I think on a per year basis, if he's putting up the numbers that he is, he's arguably as good as Trout, if not better. Especially this year.
I think that it's going to end up being he's going to end up staying in New York, and it's just going to be a lower amount of years. I think it's going to be like a 4-year contract, and then he's going to be 34 years old and reevaluate it.
Agreed.
At that point, see where he goes after that. But I think it's probably going to be around 35 million a year for 4 years, which I'm fine with as a Yankees fan. I think most Yankees fans would be totally fine with another 4 years of Judge.
Yeah, they could do one of those creative contracts that Machado has. Machado's like, I think after 5 years, he signed a 10-year deal, I think. And after 5 years, it's either a player option or a team option or like an opportunity to renegotiate. I mean, he's got to be open for that, because if you think he's going to keep up the production while still locking in some, guaranteed money, why not?
Yeah.
But he is one of those generational people. Like, I see him as a New York Yankee for his career. Similar to way, a lot of these players, play for franchises throughout. Derek Jeter. I'm gonna think of like Kobe Bryant with the Lakers. Like you just pair these people with the teams. I can't imagine Judge on another team, but I mean, we'll see what happens in the offseason.
Hey, I'm also, who's another one of those? Brett Gardner. He deserves another shot.
It's funny because on our last podcast, was it Lucas? No, it was Venezia. Venezia was saying that Brett Gardner just needed to go. It was like turning over a leaf in terms of like, there was nothing wrong with him. Good player, hard worker, everything. But like something about him, like just being there.
I think he needs to be like a coach, like a bench coach or something, just to get everyone excited. Because he's definitely a good, like, he gets people amped.
He looks like a coach too.
Yeah, he's scary. He's a big guy.
Yeah, he is.
Throw him at third base coach.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll send everyone. Just everyone's sending.
Moral support.
All right, Mike, enough with baseball. Good with baseball. You don't follow the NBA finals or the NBA too much, but I think that's the perfect opportunity to ask you the question, who do you have winning the NBA finals and in how many games?
I honestly couldn't even tell you. That's how little I've been watching this year.
To give you it's the Warriors and it's the Celtics. So you got Steph Curry on one side and you got Jason Tatum on the other.
This is going straight to TikTok.
Uh-oh. I mean, I don't know. I'd probably say I'd have to go with my boy Steph.
That's a good choice.
Yeah.
That's the favorite.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're veterans in the chip. I feel like they're always in it every couple years yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Warriors have been to the finals 6 out of the last 8 years. I'm pretty sure it was. That is ridiculous. And I mean, the only flaw to the Warriors is the path, how they got there. I think that's the one argument that everyone has is that they didn't really play anyone. They played the injured Nuggets. They played the injured Grizzlies. John Morant was all banged up. And then they played the Mavericks, which the Mavericks aren't that great of a team. They have Luka. They got Spencer Dinwiddie. Like, they have they have an okay team, but it's not a Western Conference Finals team, in my opinion. So we'll see where it happens. We'll see what happens.
I think that's fair. I think Pat Bev was saying something along the lines of that, and I forgot who was replying to him. It was JJ Redick was saying, he's like, every finals has an asterisk. They always do. It's like every single year, it's like, okay, Kyrie was hurt, so the way, or like whatever, this, that. It's like there's always, you can make some sort of argument. Credit where credit's due. Warriors have the experience. They're veterans at this. I think they take home over the Celtics, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Celtics gave a push and gave a run at it. A lot of people say
think it's going 7
games. Yeah, a lot of people say 5 and 6 games. I could see it going 7 just based off the defense that the Celtics play, and a lot of back and forth. And I don't think a lot of the games are going to be close. I think it's going to be a lot of game planning and switching, and it's going to be different. But
yeah, the NBA playoffs has been a little disappointing with all the blowouts that have been happening. But
we'll get a game or two in there that's tight and good.
The Jimmy Butler one,
yeah,
was a good one.
It'll decide the series. To be honest,
exactly.
Moving on, because I know that NBA is not Mike's favorite topic, or at least one that he follows very closely. But you heard it here. Mike's prediction: Warriors winning the finals. We'll come back to this when they win.
In how many games, Mike?
7.
7.
We
He's
love it.
taking the 7. So a lot of people saying 5 or 6 games. Mike said 7. We'll come back here to this podcast when it's official.
We got a special guest. You want to say hi?
Yeah. Who is it? Is it who I think it is?
Here, I'll let me see if this.
I know who it is.
There it is.
There he is.
There it is.
How you doing, Mike? Foxy Saber.
What's up?
Who are you rooting for in the NHL playoffs now that the Penguins are out, Mike?
Oof, it's a tough one. As painful as it is, probably New York because I don't like Tampa.
Yeah,
But,
can't have a Tampa three-peat.
But I was rooting for Edmonton too, but I don't know. They got no goaltending at all.
I didn't even know Edmonton was a place before the playoffs.
That's not surprising from your flag work.
You know what exactly the team is?
What?
I'm the Seattle Kraken. The Seattle Kraken
really?
fan.
All
They're
right,
new.
well,
I'm not a front runner. I'm not going to jump on a bandwagon.
right. I mean, I get it. It starts off that way. Hey, my brother's a Seahawk fan because when they came in the league, that's who he rooted for.
Exactly.
So, and he's still a fan. So, nothing wrong with that.
Once they're good, I'm going to take all credit.
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly. That's what you hope is in a couple of years they're in the playoffs, and you're like, I've been there since day one. So,
I haven't watched a single game. I don't think a single minute of gameplay.
really?
Well, you didn't miss much because they were one of the worst teams in the league.
Oh, of the Kraken, you mean?
Oh yeah. But
the playoffs are the best, though. You can't stop watching.
I haven't watched. I'm not going to lie.
Best playoffs in sports, period. Any sport.
I was going to ask that to Mike. This is Mike. I was
Mike,
going to ask that earlier. Are the NHL the best playoffs in sports?
I honestly think so as well. I think it's electric, the playoffs for NHL.
What makes it so much better?
They're so intense from the
Yeah, exactly.
Each game starts, it's just full of intensity.
Right.
I also think that, they're allowed to fight to an extent.
Yeah, yeah. They just let them do that.
Just at that alone.
The face wash, the scrums, the pile ups. They let them get a little bit more into that in the playoffs for sure. But honestly, it's like if football, it's one game and you're done. That's exciting too. I get it. But usually, like if your team's out or your team lost, you're like you could take it or leave it. You watch it, you don't watch it, whatever. But these hockey players, it doesn't matter who's playing. You could watch any one of those games and be thoroughly entertained the whole time.
I might have to watch the Rangers game tonight. I might do it.
Good.
There you go.
The Mets aren't on. They played today, so we're good. We're clearing the schedule.
There you go.
All right. We were going to move on to best TV shows, Mike, and me and you.
I want to hear the younger.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I love how Mike's here. We watch Better Call Saul. Like current TV shows, I would say Better Call Saul is my favorite show right now.
Agreed.
Better Call Saul is a prequel. Am I correct?
Yes,
Correct.
prequel to Breaking Bad. Yeah, we just wrapped up the season, the half season point. It comes back July 11th for Better Call Saul. And it was a little bit of a shocking ending.
I was very shocked. Let's just say that.
It was very good. I don't want to spoil anything, but I think the great thing about, and this is the point that I want to make, Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad, is that throughout the process, you are always thinking what's going to happen next. You're always guessing. And then you are torn on certain characters, and they play with your heart and your mind in terms of who you're rooting for and who you're not. I was talking to my boss at work actually recently about Ozark. She watched there's 4 seasons, right? She watched the first 3 seasons. Season 4, she goes, "Oh, it lost me." She just dropped the show.
That's ridiculous.
Mid season 4. I was like, "You're not even going to finish it?" It's just like you don't care for the characters. Like at this point, she just dropped it. She did the same thing for Dexter.
Dexter's fantastic too. I watched 7 seasons of that or whatever it is.
I think it's like 9 seasons. She got up to season 9 and was like, "This is bad. I'm not watching it." I was like, how have you not watched the final season?
That's ridiculous. Also, there's another season of Dexter too, where it's the new Dexter, but it's only 1 season.
I heard it's all right. But
That's ridiculous. That sounds like a crazy person move.
Mike, what do you think is the best current show on television now? And then we'll jump into best of all time.
I'd also agree with Better Call Saul, but you know what I really like? Also Barry, our show also. It finally came back after a couple years as well, and came back with the vengeance. I really think they're doing well this season.
The first two seasons of that show are great. We watched it together.
Back like, what was that, 3 years ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah. And then the pandemic hit, and then it wasn't on for 2.5 years or whatever it was, and it's finally back. So I'm happy it is.
Definitely.
Mike, DiMatteo, best current show on TV right now.
Yellowstone.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, goodness.
I know it's like a national park, right?
Well, yeah, that is. But it's I don't know, a drama, I guess you call it.
I never seen it, but yeah, I think it's a drama.
It's ranchers out in Montana.
What network is it on?
It was on FX or
I think it was FX.
Yeah, I think you can get them on Paramount now. You can get the seasons and watch them on Paramount. I think it was FX that it was on there. Now that is Paramount now, right? FX, it changed to Paramount.
Maybe.
I think so.
When I was working from your house last week, Bar Rescue was on, and I don't have I don't have Paramount here. I love Bar Rescue. I had it on the background all day during work.
That is a good one.
Bar Rescue is great. The one show that I have not watched yet, or I started to watch it, I watched like 3 or 4 episodes of it, but I couldn't watch it because I don't have a Hulu subscription, is Sons of Anarchy. And it was fantastic what I've watched. And I heard that it gets even better, and I really, really want to watch that. So that's my one to put on the radar.
What's your underrated show, Mike?
Me, Mike, or other Mike?
You, Mike.
Honestly, not underrated, but one that I hadn't seen till recently that I've been watching frequently now is Entourage. I never watched it, and all my buddies were like, you gotta watch it, and I'm like, all right, I'll get to it. Finally got to it. Was a great choice.
I did the opposite of my manager. I only watched the last like 4 seasons of Entourage.
Oh, really?
Because you know what? Matt was watching it back in college, and I would hop in, and then Johnny and I just watched all of Entourage with him. And then we walked into the room where he was watching it without us. We're like, what the hell, man? He's like, dude, I was watching this for the first 5 seasons. Like, I'm not waiting for you. Like, you guys just hopped in.
Turtle is hysterical.
Yeah. Mike DiMatteo, best underrated show right now outside of Yellowstone, I guess.
I don't know if it's underrated, but what is it? Only had maybe 2 seasons, I think, so far. Is Ted Lasso.
Oh, I love that show.
I don't know if it would be underrated, but it's young. It's still in the like 2nd season, 3rd season, I think is coming out. But
I love that show. Zach, did you watch that?
One.
I haven't seen that one either.
You would love it.
Ozark and Ted Lasso. Those are my next 2 shows.
I feel like you would especially like Ted Lasso. Yeah.
I like Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah.
I like sports. It makes sense.
You would love it.
A little comedy in there, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
And then what about best show of all time? Let's go Mike DiMatteo first.
Oh, simple.
Can I guess?
Go ahead.
Oh, is this The Sopranos?
Oh, now you made it complicated.
Seinfeld? Or The Wire?
No, Magnum PI.
Magnum PI?
Greatest show of all time.
We've been watching
the original. You never watched it?
No.
I've never seen it either. I don't know what.
It's probably like an NCIS kind of thing, no?
No, it's more
like
light drama and.
Okay.
What makes it the greatest show of all time?
I don't know. Just the characters were great in it. The story was good. It was one of those, if you really watch it and got into it, it's like they all, like, you couldn't stop. You had to follow them all. They all had different storylines in the story too. So it was awesome.
That was like a no-brainer for you. You were like, oh,
wow. But Sopranos just threw me off there too, because that's pretty high up there on the list, I think.
I've never watched.
That's my number 2, Sopranos.
What's your number 1?
Number 1, Breaking Bad.
Yes, Mike. Yes.
I knew you were going to say that.
Zach got me into it, and I started watching like those YouTube videos on the Easter eggs that literally every episode has Easter eggs that then later on it comes back, and it's like, wow, this is incredible writing. Vince Gilligan is a genius. Even with Better Call Saul too.
I guess I can't talk trash about your manager, Zach, that she stopped watching in the middle of the series, because I did the same exact thing. I
with
stopped
Breaking Bad?
Yeah, in like season 4. Zach knows the exact episode.
That's right when it gets like amazing, that and beyond. Like
Season
the
4,
beginning seasons, they're like, but then the last couple seasons are like, wow.
season 4, episode 1, box cutter. Brian's watched it 3 times with me.
I'm gonna
Watched
watch
it 3
4
times. And yeah, watch. You should hop back in. You're gonna be lost. You might be a little lost, but you'll
I
get
know,
enough
and I
time.
jumped into Better Call Saul and I watched like 2 episodes, so I'm all over the place with
What are you
that.
doing?
No, I don't know what I'm doing.
Unbelievable. I don't know if Better Call Saul would be your speed. I feel like if you thought the show was like Breaking Bad was somehow slow for you, I feel like Better Call Saul like really eased into it. And these last few seasons, as a Breaking Bad fan, especially, have been incredible. I don't know how it would be for someone just picking up and watching it.
What do you like better, Breaking Bad or Kanye West?
Oh boy.
Or the New York Mets?
Or golf.
Or golf.
You're naming everything that's so important to me. God. Kanye West is just so interesting to me, like everything that he does. So I would put him first, and then I would put
Over golf?
No, probably. Yeah, I would.
Over the Mets?
That's
I
insane.
don't know. No. I forgot the Mets were in the comment. Put the Mets, Kanye West, golf, Breaking Bad.
And the Knicks?
The Knicks sit below that, and so do the Dolphins. I'm like the least attached to the Dolphins. They could be average forever, and it would be okay.
The Kraken is like above.
Kraken's
above
ahead of the Dolphins.
Seattle Kraken's going to be at the top.
Yeah,
pretty soon.
past Kanye and golf.
Yeah. I don't know if that's an accurate list of Zach tiers, but hey, it's close enough. Putting Kanye West first is just a very ignorant thing for me to say, but we're gonna run with it.
Run away.
Right. Yeah, run away. See what I did? Yes, Mike. Wait a minute.
Hey, I'll give you another TV show to go back and watch. If you like suspense and action and an interesting format, is the show 24
Oh, my dad loves that
with
show.
Kiefer Sutherland.
That used to be a big show that a few of my family friends' parents were like obsessed with. Like they had like everything with it, like merch, the video game, like everything.
Yeah, it's really good. A really different format for a TV show. Everything, like the whole season is one day.
Jack Bauer.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
And whenever I think of 24, I also think of a show that was on at that time, I think, in Prison Break, which I know, Brian, that's one of your favorite shows.
Oh yeah,
too.
that was.
I like Prison Break a lot. Prison Break and Lost are in my top 3, top 5.
All in the same era, I think.
Yeah,
Good time for television.
it's a great time for television. Now's a great time for television too.
It is good. And especially since you could just binge watch like most of these seasons when they dump them. It's great.
Oh, that makes it the best, being able to just knock off like 7, 8 of them in a row.
All right, we have 6.5 minutes left here until Zoom kicks us off our free
Speed round.
All right, you guys go. I got a
right.
game to watch.
All right, speed round.
Speed round. All right, Mike, I have 2 things listed here. You mentioned them as potential topics that we would talk about. We have the Mandela effect, or we have simulation theory. I'm kind of interested in simulation theory. Is it that we exist in a simulation?
Basically, yeah, it's basically that, like, the game Sims or like the Matrix. It's like you are the character. You're in a simulation that's so real that you don't understand that it is a simulation, because reality is just what you perceive it as. Yeah, it's very deep, and it's hard to really think about too much,
I like it.
but it's what I think about a lot.
Rick and Morty has an episode about this,
Yes.
don't they?
Yep, and I'm a big that's up there for me, actually. I really,
Same.
really like Rick and Morty a lot. I think they go into really abstract concepts, and you're not expecting it because it's a cartoon, but it's good.
I agree completely. I also like the simulation theory. There's a guy called named Jay Alvarez. He was like one of the original YouTubers, and he talks about that a lot on his IG stories and stuff. Very interesting stuff.
Are we all in our own simulation, or is it one big simulation?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. No, in my opinion, I feel like I don't want to say I'm for or against it. I'm neutral, but if I were to like see it, it would almost be like each like person is like every decision point is someone else controlling what you put in your mind to make that decision, in a way. Like I almost see it as when you are trying to think of like an answer to something and it just comes to you. Like how does it really come to you? Like when you think of something and You know what I mean? Like, how did we come up with some of the technological and scientific advancements that we did to sustain life for as long as we did in our generation, 2000 or since we've been around 2000 something years. So I don't know.
All right. So if you had 30 seconds to describe the simulation theory, I want to hear your hypothesis.
30 seconds to explain the simulation theory. I would almost honestly, the matrix is like what I would so most people, I mean, think about the concept. Most people, you either take the blue pill or the red pill. Like, do you either kind of, because at the end of the day, just because you're living in a simulation, what can you really do about it? There's not much. So is it really worth it to understand that or not? And that's the moral dilemma. So it's like, do you let just things play out and be happy where you're at? Or do you really further your kind of questioning of everything, which will get you where, And at the end of the day, I heard this great thing. It's like, why have we never like met or encountered any extraterrestrial life that we kind of know of? One, maybe they're smarter than us. We don't really know. But another thing is we're always on the verge of expanding to the edge of universe, but maybe we get to a point where we're like, why do we need to expand? Why can't we just, instead of expand, whatever the opposite of that is, and get into our own heads? That's what virtual reality is going to take. This is what Elon Musk thinks. Eventually, virtual reality is going to get so real that we won't be able to distinguish it from actual reality. So it's very, very thought-provoking, but
I almost wish we talked about this the entire podcast.
I'd be happy to come on and talk about any of those concepts again. Whatever you guys
do it.
We will. And I want to get another perspective on here. We're supposed to have Tommy on here. Tommy's head gets into such a pretzel so easily. So I could just see you talking about this stuff and us talking about it. And then Tommy just interjecting with very funny, like, the typical bystander questions.
Yep.
So we'll definitely have you back on.
Awesome.
Yeah, but we're at 2 minutes left, so we'll wrap up. Mike, thank you for coming on the podcast. I know you wanted to, and I'm happy you did. Any final words for the audience?
Thank you for having me on. And
life's a simulation.
Yeah, life's a simulation.
The simulation wants us to do this again, so we
right, exactly.
All right, man.
Cool. All right, guys.
Thanks, everyone. And I'll see you at the next podcast.